Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you had a great week, and I hope that your weekend is off to a great start. Students, this is a subscribers chat class, so all you need to do to join the chat is subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that's a great idea if you're preparing for IELTS, as we are world leaders when it comes to IELTS exam strategy and preparation. In this class, we're looking at IELTS reading. This reading topic will be about the highest mountain range in the world, the Himalayas. Very exciting. Welcome, Chayani, Nat, Fwong. Nice to see our members. Carolina, Alexi, good to have you in the class. Sanjan, Nipa, nice to see our subscribers in here as well. Students, this lesson, as usual, is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. Those are the websites that power these lessons. In fact, today's reading will be on one of our websites soon, the academic one. This is our academic website, aehelp.com. You can join our premium IELTS by clicking the big red button that's just right above my head there. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We're an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. IELTS Test Registration Center. You are in great hands with us. We are here to help you achieve your goals and dreams. For the general IELTS, gieltshelp.com. Click that big red button that's right there above my head. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. When you click that button, you can use the code TRIP4U coming from our latest video, and that will get you a 10% discount upon checkout. So use that. We are here to help you, and we will use the website in a bit to do reading with our subscribers and our viewers. The reading passage for today, again, is the formation of the Himalayas. This is coming from a new exam that is in development. So keep your eye out for that. And again, we do have apps, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. We have Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp, GIELTS Help. Check those out. If you have questions about IELTS, about our product, send me an email. My email address is adrian@aehelp.com, or you can contact us at admin@aehelp.com. Students, tomorrow we'll have more classes for you. We'll have speaking part 2, speaking part 3. So definitely be here with us tomorrow as well. And in the meantime, when you're not in a live class, you can check out one of these videos. I just put the link in the email. Alexi was nice enough to put my email addresses there as well. And we also have Chen with us now too, our moderators. So you can ask our moderators, Alexi, Chen, and Carolina, questions. Romelia, we got to get in touch with each other. I know you were looking to help us out as well. So let's get in touch. Okay, IELTS reading strategies. First, read the title. The title and make inferences. What does the word inference mean? What is the definition of the word inference? It's a very important word to know for academia. What does it mean? Pima says, reading is my favorite section. Well, Pima, you're in the right place. Alexi says it means imagination. Harjot means guess. Romelia says it's a deduction. Yes. So Romelia, I think what you're looking for is deductive reasoning in part. Yes? Keshab says infer. Keshab, we cannot define a word with its own word form. So to say inference is to infer, It doesn't make sense. So deductive reasoning is a good start, Ramelia. Okay, it's a belief. Angel says it's a derivation. It's an educational guess based on available facts and logic. That's what it is. It's an educational guess or assumption based on the available facts and logic. That's what an inference is. Okay, it's not just a wild guess. We're not just like, Himalayas, that must be a new TV show on Netflix about people racing horses. What? So, obviously not, or most likely not. Let's take a look at our title here. So, the title is The Formation of the Himalayas, right? So, that's what we have. Now, we have our questions as well. The questions will also help us, but before we get to the questions, let's make some inferences based on the title. So, formation of the Himalayas. So, what kind of information do you think this passage will include? Gopu, happy birthday to your sister. You should make sure you go and celebrate with her. I hope the celebrations were good. Alexi says, how was formed? Okay, so a little bit more detail. Zachariah says, the history of the Himalayas. Sure. Bogdan says, movement of tectonic plates. Okay. That's great. If you know the word tectonic plates, fantastic. Amra says, collision of two plates. All right, sure. Somebody said the history. Okay, let me simplify. Simple is beautiful, students. It's not easy, but it's beautiful, okay? So the age of the Himalayas. The forces that created these mountains. The location of these mountains. The importance of these mountains for humans. Okay? So if I'm thinking about this title, Formation of the Himalayas, then my inferencing, so my academic brain says, okay, humans. What, why, how? What are these mountains, right? How big are they? Their description. Okay? All right. Remember place and remember event, right? Where do you see those concepts? When do I talk about these concepts in the IELTS? Place and event. Okay. I talk about communicating and discussing places and events in not just the reading section, but in Amra. Very good. Amra says you talk about that in speaking part 2, right? So when we talk about a place, good communication will include the location, right? Will include the description, right? Will include the events that happen there, so the actions that take place, the attendees, the people that go there, right, to that place. Okay, the experiences, right? And when we talk about an event, it's kind of the same. So event, the time, location, the attendees, the activities, and the experience, right? That's for part 2 speaking. Now, when you're looking at a reading passage, in some sense, what you're actually looking at is a speaking response to a cue card question. Okay? Talk about, so you're going to be like, what? Did he just do that? So let's say speaking part 2 cue card. We're doing reading, don't worry. Talk about a natural place that is famous in your country. Okay, and maybe you realize, hey, I'm going to talk about the Himalayas. I'm in India, or I'm in Nepal, or there's a couple other countries, Pakistan, I think. And I'm going to talk about the Himalayas, right? In your country, or Tibet as well, right? Talk about it. I'm going to talk about the Himalayas. So you're going to talk about what? You're going to talk about the location, its history, maybe a little bit, right? So those concepts. Now, the passage here, logically, will include similar information. Okay? All right. And so, yeah, it's the Ladakh region, of course, in northern India. Sure. So, what do we know about the Himalayas? Okay. What do you know about the Himalayas? Let me know. What do you know about it? It's in the Ladakh region of India. It's also in some other countries as well, right? So it's a big mountain range, stretches through Tibet, Nepal, right? It's the tallest mountain range. People climb many mountains there. Yep. Snehal says it's a folded mountain. I'm not sure what that means. Keshab says it has the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. Is there? Okay. What else? Tourist place. It's over 7,200 meters. It's over 8,000 meters. Okay. It's the main source of water. Najagdeep, yes, source of water. The Ganges River flows out of the Himalayas. Very important. The Ganga. Yeah. Okay, Amra says it was made by the collision of the India and Eurasian tectonic plates. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, so now you're thinking about it. Now you're visualizing it. Now, before you start reading, another very important strategy is visualization. So it's very important, students, that you put yourself in the information. Okay, so put yourself in the information. So what's a good way to put yourself in this information? How can you put yourself in the information? What can you visualize? Okay. And this is important, students, because when you put yourself in the information, you will remember it and use it when it comes to question time. Okay? So what should you visualize? How can you put yourself into this information? Looking at the snow or the green nature is not enough, because then you're not participating. Alexi says you are a participant. So how do you participate? Okay? How do you do this? How do you participate? How do you participate in the event, Anahita? Okay, Carolina says I'm climbing the mountain. So here's the mountain. And here is Carolina climbing the mountain with her flag, ready to put it on top of the mountain there, right? Okay, woohoo! Okay, Domenico, how are you part of that event? Okay, so how about this one? Be creative. Students, creativity is the essence of success and enjoyment in life. So be creative. Okay. So one way that you could visualize this is you're Mount Everest. Okay. This is you. You are the mountain. How was I made? How was I born? What happened to me? Why am I so tall? Why is everybody so small compared to me? Okay, so see yourself as Mount Everest. You are Mount Everest. You are this awesome, super big mountain. And you've got all these flags on your head and people climbing you all day long. Get off of me, you little ants. Okay. Anita says, so interesting, right? So interesting means so easy to remember and use the information. Okay. All right. The more you make it interesting, the better your brain will work. Okay. Be creative, everybody. Okay. All right. Does that make sense? So become the mountain. Okay. The more interesting you can make the information for yourself, the more you will be able to utilize the information. Okay, so our first instinct is to be the climber, right? Somebody climbing the mountain. That's our first instinct. Go past your first instinct. Okay, go past your first instinct. All right, students. So the next step, of course, to get some better ideas is to read the questions in the passage. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at the questions. All right, I just want to make sure that we've got all the info in here. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so Himalayan formation, moving land masses, rising mountains. Okay, this information is all in the passage. We're going to read all of this, okay, just to get a better idea. So reading questions that contain information which is in the passage is a good way to improve comprehension. Now we want to be nice and fast. Students, read with me. This is not just a listening exercise, it's a reading exercise. So read with me, okay? Himalayan formation, moving land masses, rising mountains. The Himalayas are massive. They span over 2,400 kilometers, and their formation provides evidence for something. The theory that our planet's land masses have shifted positions over eons. How does it work? The asthenosphere is the something of the Earth that below the crust. It is very hot and is semi-solid. In this layer, hot gas and liquid rise up and replace cooler areas. This process, called something, causes the changes of the position of Earth's continents over millions of years, creating the Himalayas. Now, in the real exam, before you read, you're actually reading these a lot faster because you're just getting an idea, sense of it, okay? So in the real exam, before the reading, you're reading these fast. In short, the subcontinent of India caused the Himalayas. India used to be much further south, closer to the modern country of. Though India moved only 12 centimeters per year, this rate added up to over an amount of time. Eventually, the force of India pushing into Asia created the highest point on Earth. Okay, so fast, skimming over it, just to get an idea. But get an idea. If you're skimming too fast, then it's just a waste of time, okay? So you have to understand a little bit, all right? Okay, we've got true, false, not given. We don't read those because we don't have any idea of which are true, which are false, which are given. So do not read true, false, not given before the passage, okay? It's useless. It's confusing. All right, and then here we have to decide which is which. So which one is continental drift, convection, asthenosphere? All of this is somewhere in the passage, so we definitely want to just skim over that. Theorized more than 4 centuries ago, states that Earth's landmasses have shifted position over time. Heat rises from the lower levels of the Earth toward the higher levels. Next passage, Steve Wozniak. All right, we'll leave that one for next time. Okay, so now we're good. Now we've got a good idea. It's something about the Himalayas, about how they were made, why they are the way they are, how big they are, about some examples of mountains in the Himalayas. We've got some good ideas. Now, let's read the passage. Students, read with me. Follow my intonation, follow my pronunciation. If you don't understand every word, that is fine. Remember, don't forget, you are Mount Everest. What happened? How did I come to be? How did I get this flag on my head for being the tallest mountain in the world? Okay. So let's read it and imagine you are Mount Everest. Of course, at some point, you're probably going to be baby Mount Everest. Okay. Oh, that's so cute. You're baby Mount Everest. You're like a little hill. Baby. Okay, here we go. Read with me. The formation of the Himalayas. The Himalayas are a mountain range in Asia, which separates the Indian subcontinent from the rest of Asia. The Himalayas contain some of the world's highest mountains, including the highest point in the world, the legendary Mount Everest. The range is not only tall, it is also massive, stretching 2,400 kilometers across a roughly west-east arc. Okay? West-east arc, right? Visualize. The creation of the Himalayas is one of the clearest examples of the theory of continental drift, which states that the Earth's continents have moved relative to each other over millions of years. Put forward over 400 years ago by Abraham Ortelius, continental drift is an example of a scientific theory which is generally accepted as fact today. Continental drift theory posits that the continents have not always been in the positions they are in today, and the existence of the Himalayas is strong evidence of this theory. But how does continental drift work, and how did it create the Himalayas? How does continental drift work? The Earth is not a solid rock. Instead, the Earth's crust floats atop a layer of semi-solid, very hot, 1300 degrees Celsius, material known as the asthenosphere. In this layer, convection takes place, bringing heat from the lower reaches of the planet up towards the surface. Hot gas and liquid rise up, replacing cooler and denser gases and liquids. This circulation of hot and cold pushes the plates of the Earth's crust, shifting the appearance of the Earth over millions of years. Where a plate goes and how fast it goes depends on the convection currents below the surface of any given point on the Earth. How did continental drift create the Himalayas? The short answer is India caused the Himalayas. 100 million years ago, what is now the Indian subcontinent stood 6,400 kilometers south of its current position, near the current position of Australia. Particularly strong convection currents below the region began to push India northward. Every year, the landmass came about 12 centimeters closer to Asia. That's about a centimeter per month. The approximate width of your pinky or little finger. This may not sound like a lot of movement, and it certainly is not on small timescales, but when taken in the context of enormous time frames, this distance becomes significant quite quickly. 12 centimeters per year is 12 meters per century. 120 meters per millennium, and 120 kilometers per million years. This means that the 6,400 kilometer gap could be closed in about 50 million years. And indeed, this is what has happened. Over this immense time frame, India, slowly but surely, made its way northward on a collision course that could not be stopped. Okay, approximately 40 to 50 million years ago, the India landmasses collided with the Asian continent with nowhere for the landmass to go, and with forces underneath still propelling it forward. The landmass went the only place it could go, up. Over the past tens of millions of years, the Himalayas have formed as a result of the unstoppable forces pushing India into Asia. In this time, peaks like Mount Everest have risen to over 9 kilometers above sea level. What's next for the Himalayas? The Himalayas continue to grow. In fact, they grow approximately 1 centimeter per year. Again, this may not sound like a lot, but it means the mountain range will grow about 10 kilometers in a million years. This means that in 10 million years, the mountain range could be 100 kilometers tall. If a person could travel in time, they might see a truly colossal mountain range which dwarfed everything seen on today's Earth. Other effects of movement. The creation of the Himalayas is not the only effect of India's slow but steady crash into Asia. The same forces that push the Himalayas upward also create huge tensions in the Earth's crust, which from time to time must be released, resulting in massive earthquakes. Some of history's most violent and destructive earthquakes came as a result of the Indian subcontinent's relentless surge into Asia. Interestingly, another common consequence of plate tectonics and continental drift, volcanoes, do not take place in the Himalayas. This is because the mountain range is so large and the crust underneath is so thick that any magma moving upwards solidifies before it can reach the peaks. In a sense, volcanic activity is extinct in the Himalayas. Okay. All right, so that's the reading. I hope that all of you visualize this. So I don't know about you, but what I basically saw is we have the Asian continent. Let me use a little bit of a finer tip here. So we have the Asian continent here. Okay, this is Asia. And about 100 million years ago, okay, one more zero. So how many? 8 zeros. Yes, one with 1, 2, and then, yes, 8 zeros. Okay, so 100 million years ago, we had the Indian subcontinent, which was down here. Okay. So this was the Indian subcontinent, kind of connected to Australia, which is, I don't even know if you'll see that. No, but anyway, it's down here. Okay. Broke away and started moving that way. And guess what? I'm here. I'm Mount Everest. I'm baby Mount Everest. There I am. Woohoo. Hey, look at me. Hey, I'm there. Woohoo. I'm moving. I'm going that way. 1 centimeter per year. Okay. So I'm going that way. And then, oh no, I'm about to crash. I'm crashing. Whoa, what's going on? There I am. Okay. 50 million years later. Okay. There I am, 50 million years later. Woohoo! I'm there now. I'm moving upwards. I'm growing. And hey, guess what? 10 million years in the future, I'm going to be huge. Nobody will climb me. Nobody will be able to get to the top of me anymore because I am now so big because I just keep crashing and crashing. Amra says, like a newborn baby. That's so cute. Okay. All right. So that's what's happening. Hopefully everybody saw that. Did everybody see that? Was everybody as imaginative, hopefully, as I was? Okay. AJ says, but Mount Everest is in Nepal. Yes, but it's the Indian subcontinent that pushed it there, AJ. Okay, so that's what got it there. We call it the Indian subcontinent. All right. Everybody saw that movement. You're that little baby Everest. You're moving. Hey, you're slow, but it's because you're huge. Fong says, that's so cute. All right. Okay, if somebody has some time, you can get ChatGPT to animate that for you. All right, everybody. So let's now hand it over to you, the viewers, for some reading. Okay? It's not just me. This is interactive. It's live. We're live, everybody. This is a live class. We're going to interactively read and answer questions. Okay? So to volunteer for reading, what I would ask you to do is go to the website, and I'm sure one of our lovely helpers, Alexi is one step ahead of me. Alexi has put the instructions into the chat. There it is. Go to the website, and you can volunteer to read and have a discussion on this reading. Okay, so we go to the website. Again, to join the premium version of our course, just click that big red button that's right there above my head. And then once you're in your My Student account, you've got computer-based practice exams, a full interactive course with all these tips and strategies. You've got exam books that you can download. You've got lesson videos nicely organized. You've got audio CDs. And you've got this student partner speaking that's right there. You click on that, okay? And then you get in there, and now you will be in a list of amazing students, and all you have to do is send me a message. We've got a lot of our premium members and premium students in here. You can send me a message. This is for subscribers as well. And you can say, hey, I want to volunteer. We've got Alexi, our moderator, ahead of the curve. And I think Alexi wants to volunteer. I want to try. Let me put on my ears. You'll get a good example of reading here with Alexi. And then just like that. By the way, my name is Master. If you have questions, if you're having problems, just ask the people in the chat. A lot of people know how to use this. So you're looking for me as Master. Okay, Alexi, hang in there. And then we'll start. Okay, Alexi, are you ready? All right, yes, Alexi's ready.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Alexi, how are you?
I'm awesome.
You're
What about
awesome.
you?
Hi, I'm doing fantastic as well. Thank you for asking. All right. Alexi, Himalayas. Have you ever been? Ever visited there?
Unfortunately, I haven't.
All right. Would you like to go someday, do you think?
Maybe for sure.
Right? Tallest mountains. It's on my bucket list to visit Mount Everest one day. I think a lot of people have that on their bucket list. Do you know what that means, that expression, Alexi? Bucket list?
Yeah, it's like the list of things that you want to do.
Before you
Die?
Yeah, I know it's morbid to finish it that way, but it is. It's called a bucket list, everybody. Do you know why it's called the bucket list, Alexi?
No, not exactly.
It's a list of activities that you want to do before you die. It actually comes from another expression. There's a way to say a person dies, and it's kind of a rude way to say it, but it's a funny way. We use it sometimes. Do you know what that expression is using the word bucket?
No, I don't.
It's to kick the bucket. And I'm not sure where that idiom comes from. I think it comes from agriculture or something. But if you say he kicked the bucket, it means he died. Just be careful, though. It's kind of a rude way to say it. So he kicked the bucket.
Passed away.
Yeah, it means he passed away. That's the polite way. So, and from that idiom comes this other expression, the bucket list. It's on my bucket list to visit the Himalayas at some point. And maybe it will be my final bucket list point, right? Because if I try to climb Mount Everest, that's maybe when I will kick the bucket, right? So you never know. A lot of people, I'm sure, have kicked the bucket climbing those big mountains. Okay, Alexi, can you see the reading?
The first paragraph, yes.
All right, let's do this. So I want you to visualize and just read nice and smoothly. Everybody read with Alexi as he reads. Go ahead, Alexi, from the top, whenever you're ready.
The Himalayas are a mountain range in Asia which separates the Indian subcontinent from the rest of Asia. The Himalayas contain some of the world's highest mountains, including highest point in the world, the legendary Mount Everest. The range is not only tall, it's also massive, stretching 2,400 kilometers across a roughly west-east arc. The creation of the Himalayas is one of the clearest examples of the theory of continental drift, which states that Earth's continents have moved relative to each other over millions of years. Forward over 400 years ago by Abraham Ortelius. Continental drift is an example of a scientific theory which is generally accepted as fact today.
Okay, keep going.
Continental drift theory posits that the continents have not always been in the positions they are in today, and the existence of the Himalayas is strong evidence of this theory. But how does continental drift work, and how did it create the Himalayas?
Okay, good. We'll stop you there. All right, so visualizing, right? Picturing all of this information, becoming a part of the content. Little bit of a pop quiz here, Lexi. Can you read the thesis statement for me?
Thesis. Earth's continents have moved relative to each other over millions of years.
Good try, but no.
So I think the first sentence of the next, continental drift theory posits that the continents have not always been in the positions they are in today, and the extent of the Himalayas is strong evidence of this theory.
Keep going.
But how does continental drift work, and how did it create the Himalayas?
That's right. So this, everybody, is the thesis statement of this passage. It is extremely important when you're doing academic work, but otherwise too, to recognize and clearly identify the thesis statement in the article that you're reading, okay? Because that positions you, it's the cornerstone of the information. So here we now know that, okay, this is what this article will explain in more or less this format, right? And notice here, it's interesting. So when we talk about task 2 writing, and you were in the last task 2 writing class, right, Alexi?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was.
And we talked about the thesis statement there also. For IELTS, I usually keep the thesis statement fairly simple, and you should too. So when you're doing your writing in the IELTS, you don't need to create a very complex thesis statement. However, when you get into university and you're doing your master's or your PhD, Your thesis statement is really, really important. In fact, it might surprise you, but the thesis statement often will take as long for master's and PhD students to create as their entire thesis paper. Have you ever heard that, Alexi?
Um, Unfortunately, no.
No, not yet, right? Yeah, because the thesis statement is really your statement. It's what you're trying to prove. It's what you're out to say. So it's the cornerstone. And if you have a great cornerstone, then you'll have a great thesis. If you don't, or a great research paper, I should say, so I don't confuse you. But if you don't, it's going to fall apart. So, so a lot of graduate students will spend 4, 5, 6, 8 months to come up with their thesis statements and to recreate them, rewrite them, rethink them. So here, that's what we're looking at, right? And it's 3 sentences. It's 1 sentence and 2 questions in this case, okay, to give the reader the right ideas about what this is going to be about, this information. So that's the thesis statement. Make sure to stop for a second in your IELTS exam every time you read a passage and really, especially in the academic version, really identify the thesis statement, okay?
Okay.
All right. Do not continue reading without clearly knowing where the thesis statement is. In this case, the author has decided to separate the thesis statement as its own paragraph, which is an interesting strategy as well, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, thank you, Alexi, for reading. And thank you for moderating. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Okay. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye, Alexi.
Bye.
All right, that was Alexi. So, important strategy, important point there, students. Don't keep reading until you identify the thesis in the beginning. It's very important. Even if you're just skimming and scanning, which is not the best strategy, but even if you're just skimming and scanning, you have to identify the thesis statement of the passage. Otherwise, you can really get lost and confused very easily. Okay? All right. Let's take another student here. Harjot has been really volunteering and hasn't had a chance in the last little bit. So let's give Harjot a chance. Lots of premium students in here. Great to see. Are you ready, Harjot, to read a paragraph or 2 for us? Let's see. And I'll come to other students as well. We've got, I think, 7 or 8 paragraphs and a lot of questions, so hang in there.
Can you hear me?
I can, Harjot. How are you?
I'm great. What about you?
I am doing fantastic. Harjot, have you ever been to the Himalayas?
No, sir.
No, you are you living kind of close to the Himalayas?
I'm from the northern part of India, but not close to the Himalayas.
You're close enough, though. You're a lot closer than Alexi,
Yeah.
I think. You're definitely closer than me. Will you go?
Yes.
Will you go sometime? Do you think? Do you think you'll go and see the Himalayas at some point?
Yes, they are in my bucket list.
They're on your bucket list. Good for you for using the new vocabulary. Okay, Harjot, whenever you're ready, read the paragraph starting with the question, how does continental drift work?
How does continental drift work? The Earth is not a solid rock. Instead, the Earth's crust floats atop a layer of semi-solid, very hot 1300 degrees Celsius material known as the asthenosphere. In this layer, convection takes place, bringing heat from the lower reaches of the planet up towards the surface. Hot gas and liquid rise up, replacing cooler and denser gases and liquids. This this circulation of hot and cold pushes the plates of the Earth's crust, shifting the appearance of the Earth over millions of years. Where a plate goes and how fast it goes depends on the convection currents below the surface of any given point on the Earth.
Okay, good. Harjot, let's say you're at home and you're practicing for the IELTS, kind of like what you're doing right now. But let's say you're doing it by yourself, okay? And you've got this reading. So you're looking at this reading, you're looking at this paragraph. What do you think you should do? When you've got this paragraph, what would be some good practice? What would be a good exercise to do when you read a paragraph like this at home? What would be good practice to help improve your comprehension, your coherence, your understanding of English, of academic text? What would be a good exercise to do with this paragraph? What do you think?
Read slowly and visualize properly.
Yep, those are good to do. What else? Anybody in the chat, you can answer this question too, so don't just wait for Harjot here. Help him out. What could you do when you're reading this kind of a paragraph? And there are, I don't want to say always, but maybe always paragraphs like this in your IELTS exam. Yeah, look at what Amra's saying in the chat.
Drawing.
Yeah. So the academic IELTS especially often includes what's called process information, right? So here we're talking about convection currents, and it gives us this very detailed concept of the Earth and the Earth's crust that is moving in sections like this on top of liquid that's underneath it. And these convection currents, so I'm drawing basically what you just read, are moving at different speeds, smashing into other plates. And what's happening is you have these hot replacing cold currents that kind of come up like this, right? And they keep pushing these plates in different directions. And we're obviously up here, and if you're Mount Everest, you're somewhere here, and you're that cute Mount Everest, okay? So you're drawing a picture like this. Now, let's say that, and look, Harjot, some people might think, oh, I don't have time for this. And come on, it only literally took me, what, 1 minute, not even 30 seconds to draw this picture. Okay, so I drew this picture because this is what I think it's trying to tell me. This is what I understood from this passage. Now, what can I do after I drew this picture to check my coherence or my comprehension? Harjot, what do you think?
Yes, I think.
So I read it, I drew a picture of what I think it says, the process that I think it's describing. Because, a lot of people say, I can't do map type questions, I have difficulty with process information. Well, this is exactly what we need to do to help improve this skill. So I drew this, so now what can I do? What do you think? Can anybody help Harjot in the chat? So you read it, you drew a picture of it, what do you do next?
I think read the next paragraph.
No. No. Always check check your work. Okay. So always check to see, like, is that what I read, or am I just being crazy? Was this drawing what it actually should be, or how can you check this? So let's be creative, let's be clever here. So you just read a paragraph on how does continental drift work, and then you read it, you drew a picture of it. Now what do? Bogdan has a good answer there.
Search on internet.
Yeah, so you type it into YouTube. You go, how does continental drift work in YouTube? And I guarantee you're going to get some very good pictures and some good narration. So now on YouTube, you'll get some great videos with probably some good CGI that's showing you how continental drift works. And then you can check, okay, my drawing was the same as what these people are saying, or my drawing was just really weird and didn't make any sense. So then you check. Okay, so here, this is really good practice, and it's fun, it's interesting, it's an effective way to learn. Okay, so you need effective learning. So when you read process information, like about the steps to continental drift, step 1, draw a picture. Step 2, check a YouTube video and see if it matches. What do you think is your last and final step, especially if it doesn't match? If it matches, you can maybe skip step 3, but if it doesn't match, what do you think you should do?
Read the paragraph carefully.
Again,
read it.
Absolutely, Harjot, absolutely. Okay, so read the paragraph again carefully and see why you made the mistakes. It's often bad verb or not understanding the verbs that are being stated or words. So read the paragraph again carefully and see why you made mistakes in your drawing. What were the words or the grammar that confused you? Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
That's what you want to do, Harjot. The reason why this is so important, everybody, not just Harjot, I'm just getting Harjot to help me with this. The reason why this is so important is because so many of you study so hard. So you spend hours and hours learning English, and you spend hours and hours reading IELTS passages, and then you get really angry and frustrated when you're not getting the correct answers in the questions and so on, and you're not understanding. And often I think the reason for that is because many people just keep learning and reading new and new passages, thinking that if they read lots and lots of IELTS passages, then they're going to get better. You will. Very, very slowly, like Mount Everest growing 1 centimeter per year. You go very slowly. You improve very slowly. Okay, so you don't want to do that. You want to improve much, much faster. Okay, so you need to take these kinds of steps. Okay, so don't just do lots of reading, but do what's called active reading. Okay. All right, does that make sense, Harjot?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay, so not just lots of reading. If you're reading lots, that's all right, but it's much better if you do active reading. All right, Harjot, so that's what you want to practice. Harjot, thank you so much for helping me explain that very important point in your learning process, and make sure to practice that, okay?
Okay.
All right.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Bye, Harjot. Have an awesome day.
Bye.
All right, good. Everybody got that? Mandeep gave me a thumbs up. He's like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, all right. Awesome. Let's take somebody else. Anna, maybe this is one of our subscribers. Anna, are you ready? Let's see if we can get a subscriber. By the way, thank you, premium students, for using the course, and I hope you're enjoying it. It includes these strategies that I'm explaining right now. Okay, thank you, Harjot, for reading. Okay, Anna, if you're there, yes, you are. Good. Okay, thank you, Harjot.
Hello.
Hi, Anna. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's my first time here. Thank you for choosing me.
You are welcome. Anna, did you subscribe to the YouTube channel?
Yes, I'm a subscriber, and I'm planning to buy a package because I had some problems with my sound here, and now I change a browser and computer, and everything is okay.
That's great. Great to hear. All right, Anna, I will ask you to help me read a little bit here. The text is coming up now for you on the screen. Whenever you're ready, Anna, go ahead and read from How Did Continental Drift Create? Okay.
Yeah. The short answer is India caused the Himalayas 100 million years ago. What is now the Indian subcontinent stood has 6,400 kilometers south of its current position, near the current position of Australia. Particularly strong convection currents below the region began to push India northward. Every year the land mass came about 12 centimeters closer to Asia. That's about a centimeter per month. the appropriate width of your pinky or little finger. This might not sound like a lot of movement, and it certainly is not on small time scales, but when taken in the context of enormous time frames, this distance becomes significant quite quickly. 12 centimeters per year is 12 meters per century, 120 meters per millennium, and 120 kilometers per million years.
Keep going.
Continue, Tariq.
Keep going.
This means that the 6,400 kilometers gap could be closed in about 50 million years, and instead this is what has happened over this immense time frame. India slowly but surely made its way northward on a collision course that couldn't be stopped. Approximately 40 and 50 million years ago, the India landmass collided with the Asian continent, with nowhere for the landmass to go, and this force underneath still propelling it forward. The landmass went the only place it could be go up. Over the past tens of million years, the Himalayas have formed as a result of the unstoppable force pushing India to Asia, and this time peaks like Mountain Everest have risen to over 9 kilometers above the sea level.
Fantastic, Anna. Very nice reading. Okay. All right, Anna. Question. What is this paragraph about? In one simple sentence.
Well, this paragraph is about the distance, how this paragraph is about distance, how it's rise the level of the sea, and how much will this distance increase per million years. It's 12 centimeters could be like a small number, but per century it could be 12 meters, and for million years it could be.
All right, Anna, let me just put on the brakes. We're going to slow you down, like slowing down the continental movement here. We're going to put the brakes on. Anna, simple sentence. Simplify it. So you're giving me almost the whole paragraph. It's like you're rewriting the whole paragraph. I just want one sentence with like 12, 15 words. So much simpler. This paragraph is about...
distance and movement, how this distance has increased per centuries.
Almost. Much better. So this is a very important goal, everybody, when you're reading, because when you can do this effectively, you start to get a lot of the question answers correct. Answering this question, what is the paragraph about? And you're very close, Anna. So this paragraph is about the distance and movement of the Indian plate
and yes, it also 100... said how this Himalayas get close to the Everest. And
check this out, Anna. So this paragraph is about the distance and movement of the Indian plate over 100 million years to form the Himalayan mountains. Right? The rest of it is all the details, like 1 centimeter per month and so on and so forth, right? But in one quick sentence, it's about the distance and movement of the Indian plate over the course of 100 million years to form the mountains. So can you just read that for me, or say that for me that I wrote here? You'll see it on the screen. I'm going to highlight it now. Okay, go for it.
Yes, this paragraph is about distance and movement of Indian plate over 100 million years to form the mountains.
Right? Okay, so you want to practice that. So what I want you to do, Anna, as you're getting ready for your IELTS test, is when you're doing these readings, read the paragraph, read it nice and loud like you just did. And then after you finished reading the paragraph, write it down. If you have a partner that you can study with, get them to do the same and then compare your answer to each other. And when you do the questions, or when you answer the questions after, you're going to see that you'll do a lot better. Okay, so it's a very, very good strategy for the IELTS. Also, when you're reading aloud, Anna, what I want you to do is pay attention to punctuation. So commas, hyphenations, slow down. So let me just look at this sentence one more time. I will ask you to read it, and everybody watching also read it the same way that I'm reading it. Okay, so when you're practicing your aloud reading, I want you to read this way. The reason why, Anna, is because one big problem when people do the IELTS exam, in the IELTS you read quietly. You can't read aloud, otherwise they'll kick you out of the test. Okay, so you have to read quietly in your head. But when you're reading quietly, you still have to read punctuation. Do you understand what I mean, Anna? Okay, because one big problem that happens with test takers is they ignore punctuation when they read silently. So what they do is they'll go like this: approximately 40 to 50 million years ago, the Indian landmass collided with the Asian continent with nowhere for the landmasses to go and with forces underneath still propelling it forward. The landmass went the only place it could go up. Over the past tens of millions of years, the Himalayas have formed as a result of the unstoppable forces pushing India to Asia. This time, peaks like Mount Everest have risen over the global.
It's without pauses.
Without pause, right? Without period, without comma, just and then they read the passages and go, I can't remember what I read. I can't remember what I read either when I read like that. Okay, so that doesn't make sense for humans. There's a reason why we intonate when we speak. Okay, so we have to practice that with aloud reading and with silent reading. Okay, so I want to read like this. Okay, approximately 40 to 50 million years ago, the Indian landmass collided with the Asian continent. With nowhere for the landmasses to go, and with forces underneath still propelling it forward, the landmass went the only place it could go, up, over the past tens of millions of years. So like that, okay? Can you try to read that sentence for me as well? Really pay attention to the punctuation, okay? More is better than less. Try it one more time.
All right, approximately 40-50 million years ago, the Indian landmass collided with the Asian continent, with nowhere for the landmass to go, and with forces underneath still propelling it forward. The landmass went the only place to could go up.
Okay. It was okay, Anna. Still some mistakes. I'll tell you what your mistakes are, okay? First of all, your comma and your period breaks are the same, okay? The comma is considered a quarter stop. So you stop for a quarter of a second. The period is considered a full stop. So you stop for a second. The semicolon is considered a half stop. So you stop for half a second. Okay, you have to adjust to those stops. Okay, the hyphen that's between go and up, you don't do any break there, which actually makes it sound quite confusing to the listener. You have to do a 1.5 stop there, so it's like 1.5 seconds. So the only place it could go, up, and you emphasize the up. Right? So I want you to practice those quarter stops, half stops, full stops in your reading, and it will really help your intonation, okay? And it will really help your comprehension, all right? Practice that and practice answering that what question, and you will do great. Okay, Anna?
Yeah, all right. Also, may I ask you? I wanna ask, I need to make notes about this big paragraph about when I start reading, when I want to understand the main idea of passage.
At home,
Yeah.
when you're practicing, yes, it's a good way to practice. In the real IELTS, when you're doing the real test, No. In the real IELTS, you need to read the whole passage through without stopping, okay? You only make notes in your head. So in the real IELTS, I'm using all the strategies I learned at home and I'm putting them together and they're happening inside my head. So I'm visualizing, I'm doing my stops, I'm thinking about the what questions while I'm reading, okay? But I'm not stopping for notes, okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay, Anna, thank you. Thank you for that question. And if you need any help getting the full package or any questions about that, let me know. We're here for you, okay?
All right. All right.
Okay. Bye, Anna. We'll talk again soon. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was Anna. Let's give her a thumbs up. That was her first time volunteering. Anna, I'm sorry I didn't even ask where you're from, but we'll talk about that next time. Come back and volunteer again. Okay, let me just refresh here. I'm going to refresh my page, everybody. We'll get to some other volunteers as well. Let me push a refresh. Everybody, if you could just refresh your page, just reload. We want to just kind of reconnect to the servers here, just because there's so many of us hammering the servers. So refresh the servers, send me a, a fresh message and say, hey, I want to volunteer. Let me try this out. And then we will go from there. Okay, so fresh refresh. Okay, make sure to drink water, hydrate. These classes are intense. Okay, all right. Anahita, I want to give you a chance. I'm hoping that you figured out your system. So Anahita, after a fresh refresh, are you ready? Okay, let's try. Anahita, make sure you're trying new ways to connect though, okay? So don't just keep trying the same way. Try to use a VPN or try to, adjust your system, okay? Use a computer from home if you can. All right, hopefully we can connect with Anahita this time.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Anahita.
Hi, how are you, sir?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm also good. Thanks for asking.
Good. I'm happy we could connect. All right.
Yeah.
Anahita, let's do some reading. I'm bringing up the next couple of pieces. Whenever you're ready, read from What's Next for the Himalayas.
Okay, sure. What is next for the Himalayas? The Himalayas continues to grow. In fact, they grow approximately 1 centimeter per year. Again, this may not sound like a lot, but it means the mountain range will grow about 10 kilometers in a million years. This means that in million years, the mountain range could be 100 kilometers tall. If a person could travel in time, they might see a truly colossal mountain range which dwarfs everything seen on today's earth.
Keep going.
And the creation of the Himalayas is
always stop. Always read titles. I've actually seen a few people do this today, and it's not good. You cannot skip titles, everybody. Don't skip titles. It's a very bad idea, okay? Titles are very important. That's why they're separate and they're bold. So it's not just you, Anahita. I'm pretty sure all of our volunteers did the same. They're skipping titles. Don't skip titles. So read the title, Anahita, okay?
Okay. Other effects of the movement. The creation of the Himalayas is not the only effect of India's slow but steady crash into Asia. The same forces that push the Himalayas upward also create huge tensions in the Earth's crust, which from time to time must be released, resulting in massive earthquakes. Some of history's most violent and destructive earthquakes came as a result of the Indian subcontinent's relentless surge into Asia. Interestingly, another common consequence of plate tectonics and continental drift, volcanoes do not take place in the Himalayas. This is because the mountain range is so large and the crust underneath is so thick that any magma moving upwards solidifies before it can crash. It can reach the peaks. In a sense, volcanic activity is extinct in Himalayas.
Okay, good. That was good. So you finished it. Hopefully you made those pictures in your head about the earthquakes and the volcanoes. You saw that, you're Mount Everest and you're happy. You're kind of angry. You make big earthquakes, but you're not a volcano. There's never going to be lava shooting out of your head. Okay? All right. Anahita, let's do some questions. So we have some sentences to complete here. Let's do it. So you'll see them coming up. Please read the first one for me, including the titles.
Okay. The Himalayas are massive. They span
No,
over.
including the titles.
Okay. Himalayas formation, moving land masses, rising mountains. The Himalayas are massive. They span over 2,400 kilometers, and their formation provides evidence for a gap. The theory that our planet's land masses have shifted positions over eons.
Okay. What goes into that space there?
And provides evidence for earthquakes? No.
Nope, it's the theory. When you see a comma after the space and then you see a noun, the theory, it means that this noun is the explanation of this noun that goes here.
Can I see the passage again?
No. And there's a reason I say that. You should be able to answer this question without the passage. So if you have to search the passage for every answer, it will get you into trouble. You're not going to finish on time, and it will be very difficult to get over a band 5.5 or a 6. Okay, you cannot rely on skimming and scanning. So this word was actually mentioned a couple of different times. What theory do you remember from the passage? It was mentioned in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end of the passage.
Subcontinental theory?
Nope, but at least you're thinking about it, and you have one of the pieces, which is continent. Okay, so
continental drift.
That's right. So see, it is in your head. And to be very honest, Anahita, in this passage, if you had this passage in the real IELTS, you should not be searching for this answer. If you're searching for this answer, you're going to be in trouble. It means that you're not reading effectively enough for getting those higher band scores. So then you have to go back and you have to think, why is this happening? What do I need to do? Am I not imagining enough? Am I not reading with enough questions of what, why, how? But you have to be able to get this. So continental drift. Right. Okay.
Because it was my first attempt to talk about the reading, so I couldn't concentrate well in the reading passage, and that's why on YouTube.
Right. So again, practice visualization, practice those questions, right? Okay. Let's keep going. Let's do one more, Anahita. I've tried to get you online so often that I'm just happy I finally got a hold of you here. So let's do number 2 together. Keep going with how does it work?
The astrosphere is the gap of the Earth that is below the crust. It is very hot and semi-solid.
Okay, good. What do you
Plate
think?
of the Earth?
Okay, good. So you think that it's the plate of the Earth, right? All right. I don't know. Are you 100% sure?
No.
Okay, so this is where you want to go and check. So some answers you should not be checking, like continental drift. But some answers you can check. What's a good way to check this?
Okay, sir.
What is a good way? Anahita, what is a good way? What should I look for? If I want to check this?
The word, the astrosphere.
Yeah, exactly. So this is an easy word to look for, right? It's nice and long and unique, so I can look for it. Okay, and I know it's in the beginning somewhere. I have 2 little kids too, so don't worry about screaming kids. I'm totally okay with that.
I'm sorry, teacher.
You don't have to be. I have 2 little kids. Sometimes they scream. Sometimes maybe you guys can hear them. So anyway, so I'm looking for the asthenosphere, okay? So here I find it. Oh, there it is, asthenosphere. Okay, so now I read before and after, and then I will get the answer. So go ahead and read for me this piece here.
The Earth is not a solid rock. Instead, the Earth's crust floats atop a layer of semi-solid. I cannot see.
You'll see.
Semi-solid, very hot, 1,300 degrees Celsius material known as the astrosphere. It is material?
Keep reading.
And this layer. Also, the answer is layer?
Good. And Anahita, notice how you made a mistake, and then when you kept reading, You got it correct, okay? This is a very important point here for everybody in the IELTS. Don't just look at the information before, also look at the information after. In many cases, they give you the answer once before and they give you the answer again after. The first answer, you didn't read enough, so you made a mistake. The second time, when you kept reading a little bit, you realized, oh, it's the layer, in this layer. So the answer is layer, and you're correct, okay? So before and after, not just before, okay?
Okay.
All right? Two very common mistakes, everybody. People don't read titles when they should, okay? And people don't read the following sentence. They just read the before sentence after. Sometimes what people do is they only read the words that are before and after, and that's a mistake too. So you want to look at the sentence before and the sentence after. You will have a much better chance to get that question correct. So let's put the word layer in there and then continue. Okay, so layer is correct. That's not where it goes. It goes here, layer. So not plate, but layer. So you found it. That was one that's good to search for to make sure that you've got the right answer. And you're good. Anahita, that was awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Keep volunteering, keep practicing. I saw that you sent us an email as well. I will answer that email a little bit later today, okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Bye, Anahita.
Bye, sir.
All right, let's give Anahita a thumbs up. She's really hardworking and really does try hard, and I'm sure she will be successful. Okay, let's try Vladislav. Vladislav, you can. Are you ready? Oh, that's supposed to be a question mark, but I just changed my keyboard to Canadian multilingual. So there, back to the US keyboard. All right, Vladislav, if you're there still, let me know and we'll jump right into some of the next questions. All right, Vladislav, yes, let's go. Okay, here we go, Vladislav. Hello, Vladislav.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. Vladislav, why are you taking the IELTS?
I want to go abroad for my master degree.
Awesome. Have we talked before?
No, it's my first time.
Oh, awesome. Okay. What do you plan to study in your master's?
I think I will continue my option on biomedical engineering.
Biomedical engineering. Okay, sounds exciting. All right, we're going to tackle a few more questions, but not these ones. We're going to leave these ones for everybody to practice at home. Okay, and you can email those questions to me. I will show you the email again in a little bit, or maybe some of our moderators can put the email into the chat. So we'll leave these fill in the blank questions. I think people are getting kind of a good idea of how to do these. Okay. And we'll jump to these true, false, not given questions. They seem to be very popular on the IELTS. It's almost a guarantee that you'll get at least one set, but in many cases you get 2 or 3 sets of these questions. Okay, Vladislav, let's do this. So I will show you how to do these questions effectively. Whenever you're ready, Vladislav, read question 7 for us, please.
Okay. In millions of years, the Himalayas will be much taller than they are today.
Okay. So to figure out the answer to this question, first of all, we have to figure out if it's important. Okay, so you need to ask yourself, Vladislav, in a full sentence question. And in the real exam, of course, this is happening inside of your head, your internal voice. And with your internal voice, you ask the full question. Is it important to know whether or not the Himalayas are becoming taller and taller with millions and millions of years passing? That would be the question in my head. Okay. What do you think, Vladislav? Is it important to know whether or not the Himalayas will be taller millions of years from now than they are today? Is that important for this information?
Yeah, it's basically the question.
Right, because what's the title of the passage?
The Himalayas creation, I think.
Very close. It's the formation of the Himalayas, right? So if I'm thinking that this author titled this passage, The Formation of the Himalayas, and we're talking about the future of the Himalayas formation, yeah, it's definitely a concept I would include if I'm the author with this title, right? So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now you can answer the question, right? And the next question is, so now you know that it's given, because so now you've ruled out the possibility that this is not given, right? So now you've basically created, instead of a 1 in 3, you've created a 50-50. Do you see what I'm doing? Are you following my logic so far?
We are excluding the wrong.
The given, not given. The given, not given, right? So we're figuring out if it's given or not given first. That's the first layer. And then the next layer is figuring out whether it's true or not. So here I ask the full question. Now, common mistake here is students don't ask the full question. They just say, is it true, is it false? It's very important that you ask the full question, because sometimes there's little tricky words like not or won't be. So you have to really pay attention to the question. Go, is it true that in millions of years the Himalayas will be much taller than they are today? So is it true or is it false, Vladislav?
Yes, it is true.
Okay, and I agree. So I would mark true and it would be correct. Here's just a follow-up question. What if the question were like this? What if it were hundreds of years, like that? In hundreds of years, the Himalayas will be much taller than they are today. What would be the answer?
I think the answer would be false, because even though they will be taller, they'll not be much taller than they are today.
Right, because the author does say that they grow about a centimeter per year. So in hundreds of years, they would be maybe like a meter or two taller, right? But there's also erosion, like rain and wind, which the author doesn't talk about. So it's possible that they won't be that much taller at all, right? So that's why I'm saying you have to really ask the full question. Okay, next question, number 8. Can you read that for me?
India and Australia once were connected.
Okay, ask the first question.
Were India and Australia once connected?
No, that's not the first question. That would be the second question, if depending on what you answer for the first question. So ask the first question.
The first one.
Mm-hmm. Is it important?
Is it India and Australia?
Is it important? So the question should be this that you're asking yourself, okay? Is it important to... Keep going.
Is it important that India and Australia once were connected?
You're going to see why it's so important to ask the full question. So notice what I just typed up there. Read that.
Yeah, it's a delay. Okay.
Yeah, 6 seconds delay, but you'll see it.
It's important to know for the formation of the Himalayas to know that India and Australia once were connected.
What's the answer to that?
Yes, it is important.
Why?
Because we know how the Himalayas were formed.
But do we? Does that really matter? If we know that they were or they weren't? Does that really matter for the formation of the Himalayas?
According to the first question, where the Himalayas is telling about how tall will be the Himalayas in the millions of years from now, it is important to know how they were a century ago or millions of years ago, to know the pace of the formation.
I get where you're coming from, but I disagree with your logic. I don't actually think it's important to know where the Himalayas came from. I think it's important to know where they were going and how fast they were going and how they're crashing and growing. I agree with you about that. But I don't think it's necessarily important to identify that the Indian subcontinent was actually connected to Australia, or it was just beside it or near it. I don't think. And logically, I would say that maybe it wasn't actually connected, because how would it tear away? Like I'm not sure if the continents ever actually tore away per se from each other, so I don't know. But I would say that I did not visualize this connection, so I would go with a not given in this case. Okay. Because I don't think it's that important. Now, if you do think that it's important and you think that it's given, then you could go back and you could skim read, but you have to be careful because you could waste a lot of time figuring out that it's not actually given. Okay. The paragraph talks much more about how India crashes into Asia rather than its relationship to Australia. Okay. All right. So be careful with that. These not given ones are tricky. Okay. All right. Let's try one more. Try number 9.
The tension between India and Asia has caused mountains to grow and earthquakes to occur.
Okay. Is that important to know? Is it important to know that the tension between India and Asia has caused mountains to grow and earthquakes to occur?
Yeah, this time I think it is important.
Absolutely. Yeah, this time is important because this is the crash, right? Is it true that there's tension between India and Asia which is causing these mountains to grow and earthquakes to appear or to occur? Sorry.
To occur, yeah, it's true.
Okay,
But
good. And be confident. So just because one was a bit off doesn't mean you should lose confidence. A very important tip for everybody is be confident in yourself. Even if you think you might make a mistake, you have to be confident. Okay, it's true. Absolutely. If earthquakes were replaced by volcanoes, it would be false. But in this case, it's earthquakes. It's true. We're good. Okay. All right. Next question, number 10. Read that.
volcanoes are active in the Himalayas.
Don't skip. Ask both questions. Is it important to know
It
that
is.
volcanoes are active in the
Yeah,
Himalayas?
it's important.
Okay, so it must be given. Is it true that volcanoes are active in the Himalayas?
No,
So the
false.
answer is false. Exactly, right? Why is this important?
It's important to know if the volcanoes did impact on the or where the collision and the volcanoes or earthquakes or other type of action which influence the Himalayas growth.
Yeah, volcanoes create growth with mountains. So first of all, it has an effect of the formation of mountains to have those volcanoes. That they blow off their top, they become shorter, they look different, there's lava that's creating new land, right? So that's definitely important. The other reason why this kind of information is often given in a passage is because we're human. Okay, so Vladislav, anytime you have information that affects people like earthquakes and volcanoes, it is often given because humans are very concerned about humans. So if we have a concept like volcanoes, which is scary and devastating and potentially threatens our existence, there's a very good chance the author will mention it because we're human, we're egocentric, we talk about whatever affects us and whatever we're concerned about. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're looking at these true, false, not given. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Vladislav, thank you so much for volunteering. That's awesome. Make sure you use the course along with these live classes every single day, and you will, I'm sure, improve your score and your communication. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you too.
Okay. Have an awesome rest of your day.
Thanks.
Okay, bye. All right, let's give Vladislav a thumbs up. Yeah, he got the more challenging questions there for sure. But they're not that bad when you know what you're doing. Okay, students, I've run out of time. So if you didn't get a chance this class, come back tomorrow because tomorrow we're going to use the student partner speaking that we were just using right now for interacting with other students, okay? The rest of the questions for this reading passage you can do at home and you can email it to us and we will send you back the answer key. Why not, right? See how you're doing with that. Here is my email address again. Maybe one or two of our moderators can put that into the chat for you as well. I hope you have a lovely, lovely rest of your Friday, however much is remaining, and a great rest of the weekend. Do come back and check out the classes tomorrow. Make sure you visit aehelp.com, glshelp.com. aehelp.com is for general IELTS. glshelp.com is for general IELTS. So aehelp.com, academic, GLs, general. And I look forward to helping all of you more and more. Thank you to the volunteers today. You were all brave people. And thank you to the moderators, Carolina, Alexi, Chen, and thank you, subscribers. I will be back. Until then, I'm signing out from Victoria, Canada. Bye for now, everybody.